Hello and welcome. This is For a Better Tomorrow, the University of Derby's innovation and research podcast with me, Lewis Alsop. Now, each episode I've been chatting to someone in academia about what they're working on and ultimately how it'll make our lives better. Now, previously in this series, I've spoken to researchers answering questions like how mirrors can help us to make solar energy more efficient, and how proteins can help combat the onset of Alzheimer's. But today, I want to talk business with you. What really does make the world go round, eh? Well, supply chains are really important to the day-to-day running of the world, of our society, and today, I want to talk about why inter-business relationships are so very important to our lives.
My name is Professor Qile He, and I'm currently professor in strategy and performance management based at the business school, and I'm also the chair of the college research committee. And so what has driven me to my current role is my passion actually about research. I started my research career actually 22 years ago as an assistant lecturer and research assistant. So started, to be more engaged with research and with senior colleagues and senior researchers. So over the time, I've been nurtured and trained and also self-developed into a increasingly more skilled researcher, and to be able to appreciate different research methodologies and to interact with different research subjects and also with different topic areas within the same domain of research.
I must just ask a question and forgive my ignorance here, I suppose. When we speak about universities, what is research? Like, what are we trying to get? We're trying to find things out, essentially, aren't we?
Exactly, yes. Research, essentially, is about exploring and also to examining the unknowns. So as human beings, we are all curious about the unknowns that is driving the development of human society, the nature, and also we are curious about our future. And so research, from my perspective, is about exploring the unknowns so that we can know better about what we have been like and also what we will be like in the future. For us as management and social science researchers, we're about human activities, organizations, and how human and organizations and society they work together to drive the human being for the future. So of course there are different disciplines and sub-disciplines within different research areas. However, fundamentally we're trying to contribute to what is known and what is unknown, and also to make sure that we are having better decision, for the future, for our organizations and for our businesses, and also at individual levels.
I know you're involved here at Derby Uni in more centrally in research and innovation as a whole, but I just want to talk about you personally for a second, because you've been involved in research of your own. What's something that you're particularly happy with or proud of, or something that you're working on at the moment?
My main research area is in interfirm relationships management, and there are many different kinds of interfirm relationships.
So this is business to business, talking to each other and how they work and interact with each other.
Exactly, and including the interactions, collaborations, the conflicts, and relationship buildings, maintenance, and even dismissal of relationships between organizations and in particular between firms and companies.
So what sort of things have you worked on with these then? What did you want to find out?
For example, and inter-firm relationship is probably the most important glue of all the social activities and business activities in the modern world. And when we're talking about supply chain, for example, and we have important relationships, between buyers, suppliers, logistics providers, and so they need a seamless relationship connections and collaborations to make sure that the flow of materials, the goods and services can be reaching the customers and users and clients in the more smooth way, and so that the society can run in a more efficient and cost-effective way. And so, for example, my research is more about how to make sure this collaboration process happens and also more efficiently and effectively happens.
It's really interesting, actually, because we often think of the world as being full of humans, but realistically, I mean, it's companies and in organisations. Having them joined together and linked together and working together is actually more important than I think I'd ever realised.
Exactly, and traditionally, and the business society was run based on transactions, and so it's basically exchange relationships, and the collaboration is restricted at a limited level, and because of individual interests, profitabilities of individual organizations and companies. But moving to the modern world, and the companies have to collaborate more seamlessly and effectively, and so that they can compete and more efficiently with other competitors. Because you cannot work alone by yourself, in the modern world. All the companies, they have to collaborate with other companies and with shared understanding and also shared targets, so that they can meet the customer requirements and more efficiently.
Because things have moved so quickly, in this past 10, 20 years or so, in technology, for one example, and there is no way that one company is able to invent everything that we're ever going to need. So these cross-firm relationships, these collaborations are really, really important. And I suppose it's something that sometimes you think, actually, it doesn't affect us normal people who, myself, I'm not involved in any companies or anything like that. But actually it does, because it encourages, and I suppose university research does as well, it encourages innovation, doesn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And so nowadays, and as you said, no one company is occupying all the resources that's needed for succeeding the market competition. You need resources, from the human capital perspective, from the financial perspective, from the technology perspective. And because the society is so specialized, and all the businesses, they have specialties and competitive advantages that other companies may not possess. And so collaborating with each other is become an essential capability, and to allow modern businesses to compete more successfully with other companies, or other companies maybe from a different country. So cooperation and collaboration and even joint innovation, joint development are become very common actually nowadays.
And just moving back to the university and universities as a whole, we said there, research in universities is part of this moving forward of society, is part of this innovation. Why is it important that universities continue to research things?
I think it's very important, and because the businesses are concentrated on immediate performance targets, and they need profit, they need smooth transactions and operations on the daily basis, and so there's a lack of opportunity for businesses to think and to reflect on what they have been doing, and the university basically is offering a more of a think tank to allow businesses and to give opportunity for business to think more deeply into what they have been doing, correctly and incorrectly, so that they can reflect better on future better decision makings. And so researchers like us are actually the think tanks, and providing the opportunity and also the resources, for businesses to reflect upon.
Because as we say, in universities, as important as money is all around the world, businesses are looking for an immediate payoff from their research, whereas universities can afford to take a little bit longer and work out these bigger problems, like you say, in this think tank kind of way.
Yeah, I think there are different services that university can provide. And for example, university can provide consultancy-based services and to offer immediate solutions. For example, we have what we call the KTP, knowledge transfer partnerships and programs. So those are more about giving human capital from the university to allow business to adopt the new approaches or innovative approaches the university have developed to benefit the immediate solutions of the businesses. On the other hand, university is also offering more of a research-oriented research. Those findings are having important implications and to how businesses can run better. And those are not only beneficial to business immediately, but also it's more importantly to be adopted by the discipline and by other researchers and by other people who needs to think and what's going on. So I think university is basically providing kind of a two-line and directions for support of modern businesses and society.
And undoubtedly, there's some amazing skill sets here at the university, but also in our businesses. Why is it important that universities and businesses carry on working together?
I think at University of Derby, we have basically a strategy of applied research. So we want to generate evidence and then use the evidence to support decision makings of businesses and policymakers. So our intention is to use the knowledge we have gained from fundamental research into applied areas. So, for example, where business is struggling with COVID period and how to manage their supply chain more efficiently, and so the university researchers and they can use some of the evidence they have gained and also the structure or the mechanisms they have gained from their research to help businesses to design their work process and operations process in a better way so that they can tackle the current challenges in a more efficient way. I'm not saying that university can be a problem solver for everything, but at least we are providing some options for businesses to think and also to adopt so that they might find a better way from practice and having adopted a kind of alternative or slightly adapted way of the solutions the researcher has provided, so they can survive their business even more successfully.
Just finally, before I let you go, what would you like to see in the future here at the university and in businesses generally in terms of this collaboration? Have you got like an end goal that you'd like to see? What do you think would be beneficial?
I think for researchers, we would like to see our research and evidence or our solutions are being adopted by businesses, because the university is not for profit, and our goal is to make sure that our knowledge can be applied, can be used, and by businesses and society. So eventually, we want to see more applications and more adoptions of our knowledge, by the society.
Listen, it's been really interesting to chat to you today, and let's hope that these collaborations carry on happening. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Thank you very much for inviting me. Thank you.
And that is it for this episode of For a Better Tomorrow, the University of Derby's Innovation and Research podcast. In other episodes, if you've missed them, we look at research answering questions like why research is so important to the University of Derby, and how analysis of events from the past can help to inform our current decision making. Be sure to check them out wherever you get your podcasts and follow the university at Derby Uni. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. For a Better Tomorrow was presented by me, Lewis Alsop, and produced by myself and Dr. Dahi McMahon in the School of Arts for the University of Derby.